Hey, this is Victor Antonio, and welcome to another sales motivation tip just for you. Now, today's question comes from Kevin Hsou, Hsou. I think I pronounced that right. Nonetheless, here's the question. It says, "Hi, Victor. I want to know what would you do if you were trying to sell a product, but the customer said they didn't have the money? Would you just walk away because the customer doesn't need the product, or would you still try to convince the guy to buy? Or simply, would you try to convince him? What would you do, Victor?" Well, I responded to Kevin as follows. Let me read it here and then we'll talk about it. I said, "Kevin, great question, but not an easy one to answer without knowing more." I said, "But here it goes." I said, two scenarios. I came up with two scenarios. I said, first, the client really doesn't have the money, which means you targeted the wrong profile. In other words, you're targeting the wrong people who don't have the money to buy your product. My solution: get better at qualifying people that you're selling to. In other words, ask key questions early on whether they do or do not have budget/money. The second scenario says the client really does have the money, but you failed to show him or her the value of buying your product. Solution: look at your presentation and ask yourself, are you showing them how investing money in your product or service will help them save money in the long run or help them make money in the long run? In other words, can you quantify the value? See, he's asking an important question. If people don't have money, what should you do? Walk away or try to convince them? Well, it depends. If they don't have the money, generally don't have the money, well, there's not much you can do. So let's say that's about 10% of the market, right? Won't have the money. But again, if you're finding people often that don't have money, you're targeting the wrong people. So what you need to do is ask key qualifying questions early on in the sales conversation and look at who you're targeting to make sure you're targeting people who are potentially have the money. Now let's say they do have the money but they don't buy. Well, maybe you're not justifying the value. In other words, the quid pro quo, the this for that, is that you want them to give you their money in exchange for your product. Well, you have to show them that your product or service is worth more than their money. Apparently, you're not doing that if you're not selling it, if they do have the money. Get the idea? I'm pushing the responsibility back on you as a salesperson. We never blame the customer for not having the money or not buying. We should blame ourselves for not qualifying or maybe not quantifying the value of the product or service we're offering. So we should take personal responsibility for that. So again, the answer to the question is, it depends. If they don't have the money, let's focus on finding people who do have money. If they do have the money, but they're not buying, there's something's wrong with your presentation. We need to quantify value, create enough value where here's the price, your value has to be up here. And if you can quantify that value, people logically will buy your product or service. This is Victor Antonio with another sales motivation tip reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know how. Take care.